His is up high enough, Trey, with him.
How about mine?
About
Can you hear me back there?
Put it closer to your mouth.
Put it right like this, as if you're going to drink out of it.
This way?
Yeah, there you go.
This one? Okay.
Right like that.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
Operator error.
So anyway, Vicki gives me a sob story about how she drove through 30-foot floods and the car was floating along. I felt sorry for her and I thought, being a very polite Englishman, I thought I'd be kind to you. But if I was you, if I was me, I would never have worn that outfit here tonight.
You would not look that good in this
I
outfit.
know, it might look pretty good. So anyway, your childhood, you were always on the water with boats.
Yes, that's true.
So how did you end up on 4 wheels?
Well, I just floated there.
No, you didn't. Come on.
By the way, I live in Fort Lauderdale, so we've had an interesting couple of days. Anyway, when I was a kid, I was lucky because my family had a couple of bucks, and I lived on the water, and my parents were busy, so they did what a lot of people, believe it or not, did at that time, and they got me my own boat. And so I had this little boat, and it has a little steering wheel, and I could drive my siblings to my grandmother's house. Both grandmothers lived on the water. I had a charge at the marina, and it's a really strange lifestyle. My boundaries were the 17th Street Bridge, so that I wouldn't go out into the into the ocean, and through the inlet, which anybody that has a boat knows inlets are always dangerous. And I did anyway. I was out there all the time. And then 6 miles north was my other boundary. I mean, can you imagine giving a child these days that kind of? But Fort Lauderdale was safe. I'm here to tell about it. And anyway, when I got my driver's license, I had to decide because I couldn't afford to run both, and my parents wouldn't sponsor me for both. And I had been saving for a car that my stepfather bought, which was the third 911 Targa in the country. And he was a successful lawyer, and he purchased this little car, and I used to go, we didn't get along, but the car united us. So, as machines often do. And I used to ride with him up because the dealer wouldn't give him the car for like 3 months because it was the third one and they wanted to sell off of it. And that was the contract. So we would go up and look at this thing through the window. And I really loved this car, so it took me a long time to, wax motorhomes and clean second-story windows or whatever crazy thing he had me doing. And eventually I paid for it, and I got my driver's license. And so at 16, my first car, which just sounds crazy now, but back then people thought it was a Volkswagen, was a Porsche Targa. Wow. So that's what I learned to drive on, and I'm proud to say, if anybody in this room is a Porsche person, that except for about 2 weeks when one of my cars was stolen, I have never not owned a Porsche since then. And I'm pretty, that's a lot of years. So anyway.
So when did you see the light and really discover motorcycles, get out of those four wheel things? When did you become a Ducati enthusiast?
It didn't really start with Ducatis. My first motorcycle was a Honda.
Well, I'm sorry.
Well, it's funny because now I like Hondas again now. So somehow I'm going to start and end with Hondas. Yeah, it's going to be the circle. It's all solid Ducati in the middle. I don't really remember. I know my mother bought my brother a motorcycle. I wasn't allowed to have one, and I kind of stole it. So, and I really didn't want anybody to know. It originally belonged to the kid down the street, and she didn't want anybody to know. I didn't want anybody to know that I was riding it. So we just parked it in the bushes. And then eventually, somehow it got paid for. I don't remember how. And my other friends had dirt bikes. So, I did a lot of motorcycle riding from the time I was maybe 14 or 15. And I don't know, motorcycles I came back to motorcycles after I got done racing cars because cars are really expensive and motorcycles were really cheap and faster.
Yeah.
So although the car people were horrified because they were sure I was going to kill myself, they didn't think car racing was dangerous. But motorcycles, they took one look at it and went, oh hell no.
Anyway,
Okay.
your turn.
Okay, now I'm going to ask.
Make it easy.
Okay.
Make it easy.
All right, wait, I have a list.
Oh, she cheated.
I did.
Is it the cook list?
I did.
She called Cook Nielsen, the ex-editor of Cycle, and said, what mud have you got on Slarky? What can I do?
Well, you
That was
know,
sneaky.
I know that truly was sneaky, but I did ask him to get some good questions for you.
No, he has no good questions.
He's really, he's
Spill the
amazing.
beans.
Well, I'm sorry? Did somebody ask?
Spill the beans.
Spill the beans.
Oh, spill the beans. Okay, so the thing is, this dude is a pretty accomplished guy. And, I mean, I don't know, I'm sure you guys don't know that much about me, but most of us here, I'm sure, know a lot about him.
That's
So.
because I'm older and you